Hey guys, how's it going? You're here. I'm just in my backyard. Beautiful sunny day. I've got grass and my kettlebell, and that's all I'm going to be doing today. So what we're going to be talking about is kettlebells. And as you know, I really enjoy working with kettlebells because, first of all, this is pretty much all you need. So if you don't want to go to a gym, if you don't want to spend money on dumbbells and all that kind of stuff, then you don't really need to do that. Thankfully, I've got a good friend of mine who is going to tell us a bit more. So I don't know if he's around here, but Chris, hey, what's up?
What's going on?
How are you, man?
I'm good.
So this is Chris Lopez, for those of you who don't know. He runs kettlebellworkouts.com. Fellow Torontonian, it's always a great thing. So we're going to be talking about kettlebells, and it just so happens we have a kettlebell right here. But before we get into the workouts and all this stuff like that, why don't we talk about, first of all, why should people look at adopting kettlebells into their workouts? Like, what's the benefit of using a kettlebell?
Generally, it's just the way that you use it. I mean, you can incorporate a lot of ballistic training into it, so a lot of explosive training. So it's great for athletes. Yeah, if you take a look at the shape of it and exactly what it is, I mean, that's pretty much a home gym all compacted into one little small package. So, I mean, I've gotten clients that have gotten to the point where they've completely quit the gym altogether and have just started training with kettlebells at home. And they're getting incredible results, probably better results than they would in a gym in like half the time.
I definitely can appreciate that. So with something so simple, people might be saying, okay, well, how do I target my arms? How do I target my full body? Like, can somebody who's looking to not only get stronger but burn fat, get lean, can they achieve those goals with a simple kettlebell?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just like fat loss and muscle building, it's an overall body effect. You're not just going to gain fat directly in your arms or directly in your gut. It's a cumulative effect, much like. And so fat loss is a lot the same. It's like an entire layer coming off your body, and so you have to work. You have to do full body exercises. You really have to work hard, and kettlebells will help you achieve that based on the exercises that you do, because they are generally all full body exercises.
Awesome. And speaking of the exercises, in tomorrow's video, we're going to show you a couple of specific exercises, so stay tuned for that. But before we get there, I want to talk about maybe some of the mistakes that some people make, because you probably, if you go to a gym, you probably see kettlebells laying around. You might be like, how do I use that? You may have even tried it. What are some, let's say, like one or two beginner mistakes that people need to be aware of and avoid if they're going to use a kettlebell?
The first thing is pretty much the way you hold it.
Okay.
So if you see a beginner pick up a kettlebell, there'll be a lot of I guess wrist extension or wrist flexion. You really have to keep your wrist neutral when you're holding it. So if I'm holding a kettlebell, I want to make sure that my wrist isn't limpy in any way, falling back or falling forward or anything, but I really want to keep it straight. So if you're, say, pressing the bell, then you almost want to rest the bell into the V of your hand and drive your fingers up to the air so that your wrists stay neutral. And so it's sitting there in that little nook of your hand, and so that you're not going to overextend any muscles in the forearm or anything.
That's a good point. That's I guess with a lot of people as well, if they had issues with push-ups, if their wrist is going to extension, they can't do a push-up properly, the same issue with that. Awesome. Well, what's maybe another mistake or a common thing to avoid?
When you're exercising with a kettlebell, a lot of people see the kettlebell swing and they have a tendency to use their back. And one of the things I get a lot of people to master before they even think about picking up a kettlebell is being able to brace their abdominals and make sure that they're flexing at their hips when they pick it up and when they swing. So what I mean by that is, if you reach down and pick a kettlebell up and you're rounding your back, then you're already at, I guess, the biggest mistake that people make. What you really need to learn is how to flex at your hip and understand that good arching in your back and the good brace in your stomach to be able to pick it up, and then that'll translate when you're doing stuff like a swing exercise where you have to really maintain that neutral spine. So again, no flexing in the spine. That's probably another really big mistake.
Yeah, and it's deceiving too, guys, because this right here is 16 kilograms, so whatever that works out to be in pounds, probably about like 35, 36 pounds.
Yeah.
It's I mean, this is a workout. Just holding this, my arm is on fire. So you need to be aware of that. They're not light. Some are obviously lighter than others. But be careful when you're picking those up. Have a look at the number. Usually on the kettlebell, it'll say usually in kilograms, I guess. Yeah. And obviously you bend down properly to pick it up. Okay, cool. So we talked about the benefit of using kettlebells for fat loss, for gaining strength. Some mistakes to avoid. Let's call it a day. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll talk about. We'll maybe go through a couple exercises that pretty much anyone can use, whatever they're looking to achieve. and I think there'll be some really good useful tips in there.
All right.
Cool. All right, guys, stay tuned for tomorrow's video. We'll show you then.
Thanks, guys.